Hello, I'm going to do the Libra weekly oracle message for the 12th to the 18th. As always, take what resonates, leave what does not. And this is what you need to be focusing on. All right, so we're going to start with our animal oracle, and the links to the cards that I'm using are in the description box down below if you're interested. All right. So we have Flamingo Spirit, embrace the in-between. So I feel like what you need to be focusing on is that if you're waiting for something to happen and you're feeling like you're in between jobs, you're in between a situation, you're waiting for something to happen, you're in between relationships, that it's to embrace that and not try to push forward to the next step, but to enjoy the time that you have going on right now, because maybe there's some lessons, maybe there's some things for you to learn, but it also could be about you embracing your downtime that you have. Like if you're single, if you're in between relationships, that maybe you need that time to yourself to focus, to recharge yourself, to work on things, to have that independence, to not have to always check in with somebody else, right? It could be if you're in between jobs and maybe you need that, you're putting your resumes out there and you're trying to get things done, but it's just not happening as fast. Maybe there's something else that you need to see, or you need to focus on, or you need to do some self-care, right? On that in between. Maybe there's been an argument with a family member and you haven't worked things out yet. Maybe it's this time in between is to embrace that and to really think about your feelings and think about what you want to say, and doing some self-care and just working on yourself and embracing that in between, right? So I feel like whatever that you're in between is to embrace the time in between, not trying to push through it, not trying to hurry up and have it go by. That maybe there's something that you need to learn. Maybe there's something that you need to see. Maybe it's even maybe it's an opportunity that sets you in a completely different direction. We have our Star Dragons card, which is vision, contemplating the future. Maybe that's why you are in the in-between, is contemplating your future and saying, where do I want to go from here? What do I want this relationship to look like? What do I want my next relationship to look like? What do I want my next job to look like? Whatever that may be, is kind of, again, taking that time to think about the future. What is it that I want? Where do I want to go? What do I want it to look like? What do I want it to feel like? What do I want it to be? Sometimes we just don't take that time to do that. And maybe that's why you have this in between, is to really think about that. Maybe you've just been kind of going with the flow all along, but maybe it's time for you to really sit down and make some choices and have that control and that direction. We have our wisdom of the oracle. We have the loyal heart. So I feel like it's being loyal to what you love, being loyal to yourself, not cutting yourself short, not giving up on things, being true to yourself and your choices, and having that commitment to yourself. We have our whispers of healing. We have commitment to happiness. I love it. I feel like these two are connected here with the loyal heart and commitment to happiness. Having that truth to yourself and saying, I'm going to commit to happiness now. Maybe that's why you need this in between, and saying, well, I always just kind of settled. I always just kind of did what other people wanted me to do. And I never really committed to myself, to my own happiness. And I've just kind of settled with things, or I've just accepted things. And maybe that's why you have this in between, is to say, you don't need to accept anymore, right? Commit to yourself for happiness. And what does that happiness represent to you? And to follow through with that. All right, we have our Tarot Grand Lux. We have our Devil card, which is also the Capricorn card, but it's also about, this is actually represents fool's gold, that these are plated in gold, but really they're not. And it's about not being fooled by things and not thinking that something is better than it really is. It's like finding the truth of a situation, and it's not It's also about not being stuck to toxic behavior or situations. Again, I feel like it comes to that, being loyal to yourself and committing to happiness, and not committing to like accepting things or having less than that. Like just what I was subscribing. um, no, I can't think of the word. Not subscribing. I can't think of it. But just how I was explaining earlier is to not settle for less than what you feel you deserve, and not getting caught up or tied down in toxic energy or drama or negativity, right? Keeping an eye on that and seeing that's not the path that I want to go down. And maybe that's why you have this in between, is to say, I don't want to follow those paths that I've taken before. All right, I have my Psychic Tarot, and I think we got 2 cards here. Yeah. Love begins. I love it. So we have the Ace of Cups. I love that. New beginnings, committing to happiness, having that loyal heart. Love begins. And then we have number 14, which is patience, but also is temperance. It takes time for love to grow. So I feel like it could be that loving yourself, right? And making choices for yourself. It also could be a new relationship. It could be a reconciliation of a relationship. It could be a friend, family member, or partnership. And like I was saying in the beginning, is like maybe you're in between relationships, and maybe that's, you have to rethink those, and you have to say, I don't want to be in toxic relationships anymore, that I want to commit to a loyal heart relationship. And you're seeing things different, and you're making different choices in people. It could be that maybe you have a friend or a family member and you two have had a falling out, and that's why I said there may be that in-between time, and you say, you know what, I don't want to go back to the way our relationship was before. It could be with a partnership. I don't want to go back to the way things were before, because that wasn't working for me, and that I want them to change, and I don't want it to be the same toxic circle as it always is. So how do I change that? What are those things that I need from that person, and what am I willing to give and do in that relationship also? But to have patience, that within that relationship there's going to be adjustments, and there's going to be changes in the relationship, and kind of understanding that and saying, I need to be patient, that it's not just going to be a snap of the fingers and everything is perfect, that there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be challenges. Relationships are hard. We all know that. Relationships with our family members, relationship with our friends, with our partnerships, any type of work relationships, any type of relationship is difficult. It has its ups and downs. But it's when we have those challenges, how do we work through those? Do we give up and do we walk away? Or do we get mad and angry and end up in fights and not talking? Or do we communicate and we work things through? But also realizing that we have to be patient with that. We have to have compromise, because that also has to do with temperance, is having that compromise, that balance, that back and forth between two people. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.